Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Locker Room tonight. I'm Alan Locher, and I'm so glad to have you here with me for a very special Pride Month celebration and happy Juneteenth. Tonight, we're spotlighting the bold and exciting new CBS series Beyond the Gates, a show that's making waves not just for its storytelling, but for the meaningful representation it is bringing to daytime television. I am thrilled to be joined by four incredibly talented actors who are helping bring this world and these characters to life. We're going to talk about their characters, their experiences on set, and what it means to be part of a show that reflects the diversity and complexity of the world we live in, all in celebration of Pride. So please help me welcome Brandon Claybon, Mike Manning, Arielle Prepetit, and RhonniRose Mantilla to the Locker Room. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you so much for being here, Mike. Great to see you. The other three, pleasure to meet you all.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to see you.
What a week it's been in Fairmont Crest, and we'll talk about all of that. But I'd love to, go back. How did you first hear about Beyond the Gates, and what drew you to Atlanta and these roles? Brandon, if you want to start.
Sure. I actually saw the trade release about the Gates. They just called it the Gates at the time. That was in the first quarter of 2024. And as soon as I saw the press release, I called my manager immediately and said, this could be amazing and I need to be a part of it. And of course, we didn't know anything about it shooting in Atlanta until a lot later on. But my manager basically said, he was like, okay, we don't have any breakdowns of any characters or anything, but as soon as we do, we'll make sure, you'll get an audition.
Arielle, for you?
I got an audition in August of 2024, and I think out of the four of us, I was the only Atlanta actor at the time. So I've lived here for actually 4 years. And this audition came like any other audition. I saw a soap opera and I said, that is strange. In Atlanta? What? Okay. I was very confused, but I think the audition was like 9 or 10 pages. And I was like, oh, I can't do this. It's too much. But
that's nothing now, right?
That's nothing. I wish I only had 9 or 10 pages to learn. Yes, and I turned in the audition, not really thinking of it as anything. But when I read the character description, I was like, yep, I get her. I got it. I know who she is. I connect with her. I could really do this. But any audition, you turn it in and you just let it be. And then I think it was a couple weeks later or a month later, I got the call that I booked it. And I'm still pinching myself that this is my job and that I got this show. So it's been a dream.
I love that.
Yeah.
Ronnie?
RhonniRose. Hey.
RhonniRose. Sorry.
No, you're totally fine. Yeah, I was actually on my way to Cleveland to do a production of Into the Woods at Playhouse Square. I was Cinderella. I got the audition I actually got an email from CBS casting, and then I said, hey, I'm now signed with this agency, and so they sent it over to my agency, who sent it to me, and I auditioned for Kat first, whose name was Allison, and then they gave me the audition for Chelsea, whose name was Cheryl back then. And then
a few of you, right, auditioned for different parts than you're playing?
I only auditioned for Martin, which his name was Marcus at the time, but same character.
Yeah, I only auditioned for Naomi, and her name was Jillian at the time.
I auditioned for Derek first, which I think his name was something else. So I found out about this because my friend Gregory Martin was involved on the writing side, and he said, Mike, there's this cool new show, keep your eyes peeled. And so I told my agent, my manager, I said, as soon as you find out anything about this show, I want to audition for it. Because I was on Days of Our Lives for a while, and I loved daytime. And when he told me that there was a brand new soap, I was like, that's insane. But it would be really cool to be a part of something from its inception in the daytime genre. And so I auditioned for Derek during the summer, and then I didn't hear anything. And then I was gearing up. I was going to Thailand for a movie. And right before I left, I auditioned for Smitty. and his name wasn't Smitty, it was something else. And then I didn't hear anything back. So I'm in Thailand, I'm shooting this movie, and I kind of was like, okay, it wasn't for me. Like, I'm going to forget about it. I'm just going to move on. And then I'm in the jungle in Thailand. I just finished hanging upside down over like a pit of spikes. And my manager texts me and he says, call me whenever you can. I said, okay. So I call him and he's like, oh yeah. So it turns out they do want you. It shoots in Atlanta. Do you want to do it? I'm sending you the deal points. And I was like, yeah, of course I want to do it. Like, this is great. And then I was like, so when do they want me in Atlanta? Like, a couple weeks, like, what are we talking about? And he goes, oh yeah, you have to be there in 4 days. And so I wrapped out. Luckily I had 3 more days on this movie, and my last day was an overnight shoot. So I wrapped at 4 a.m. So it was like a 4 p.m. to 4 a.m. shoot. I hopped on a 6:30 flight. I flew to Atlanta, and I think I was the last one of all the contract characters to meet everybody, because there was like a Monday workshop, Tuesday, fittings and meetings and stuff. And then Wednesday was the table read, and Wednesday was the day that I couldn't miss. So that's why I had to hop on the plane. And I think everybody else had met each other on Monday and Tuesday. And so I was the very last one to sort of walk. I was like the new kid in school. Everybody had made friends and they're all sitting at their desks, and I walk in with my backpack and I'm like, hey guys, how's it going? But everybody from day one has been so welcoming and so like beautiful to work with. And I say this not in jest, like this is 100% the kindest set that I've ever worked on in my entire life. Like, if you go to work and you don't say good morning to everybody and how are you, somebody will pull you aside in the first 30 seconds and be like, are you okay? Is everything fine? And I've never had that experience before.
I love that. Well, as someone who grew up watching soaps, the 2 shows I worked on went off the air like 12 years ago. Seeing a new show, the first in 25 years, that premiere week for all of you must have been so exhilarating for the cast and crew. What stands out in your mind? I mean, because it was everywhere, the excitement was everywhere. Billboards, commercials, the whole lead up week before on Entertainment Tonight, what stands out in your mind? Whoever wants to go first.
For me, I think it was the Black Excellence Brunch, and we actually got to see the first episode. Once again, I kind of knew that this show would be monumental, but also seeing yourself with the title cards and with your cast, and I cried, and I was like, this is incredible, and I'm just so happy to be a part of it. And also, I should tell everyone, I'm not a crier. So is
that news to your husband here, Smitty?
Yeah, I can vouch for that. That's very true.
So yeah, that was huge for me, just to see that, and to see how much CBS and the NAACP and Procter & Gamble believed in the show.
I think for me, because we were still actively filming when the premiere happened, it never felt real until we had like a little premiere party for just the cast and the crew. Like, after a full work day, they held this wonderful little event for us to go and eat together and watch the first 2 episodes together. And we were all there when we filmed it. Like, we all worked on it, but we all still had those same reactions that everybody else did. So getting to see like our cameramen watch the show and have that reaction when Danny slaps or punches Haley in the face, and we're all like, that to me, I was like, oh my gosh, like this, if we're all still enjoying this and watching on screen together, like this is good. The energy in the room that day was just full of love, and that's when it started to feel real. I was like, we're on TV every day. This is crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me personally, my birthday was the week before, and I know, right? The best gift, and just like everybody came, like all y'all were there at my little birthday dinner, and we
wasn't
partied
that
and we
little.
celebrated. Huh?
It wasn't that little. It was pretty big.
Like everybody from the show was there, and we had really just began to like work with each other very closely and like getting to know each other still. So just like that support and love was everything. And then the excellence brunch was literally the next day.
Wow.
And then, you know, it just kept building and building and building. But like Arielle said, like we were still filming. I think it didn't really feel real to me until like the fashion show, like episode 30. And I was like, oh wait, we're on TV. Like we're on TV. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I want to read a few messages from fans. Alan says, Gates has become my favorite soap ever, and I have not missed an episode. Martin and Smitty are my favorite couple, and one of my all-time favorite soap super couples of all time.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's really
Thank
sweet.
you.
Eric says, I love Naomi. Arielle is the friend we all want. So are Chelsea, Smitty, and Martin, but Naomi is the best shoulder to cry on. And Donald says, I'm not bored with Beyond the Gates. It's the only soap I watch now. And I love this one from Fire Girlable. This is really the first time experiencing watching a soap, and I look forward to it every day. I love that, a first-time soap watcher.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of that. A lot of people have either this is the first time they've watched a soap, or they're returning to soaps after a long time. And I think it's because of the writing. And I think that this show is much more reflective of what people would expect out of a soap in 2025. And because it's brand new, we're able to experiment with different storylines and different things that feel new and fresh. And so, I mean, thank you for all those comments. And I feel like we're hearing that. You know, I've talked to everybody here, and I feel like a lot of us are hearing that. Is that it feels like, you know, it feels like a soap for everybody. If you used to watch soaps in the, you know, 60s, 70s, 80s with your grandmother, or if this is the first time you're turning on, you know, CBS, it's like there's something for everybody.
I think for a lot of folks too, this is the first time they've been able to start a soap from the very beginning, because all these soaps have been on for 30, 40, 50 years. So a lot of people are able to start. Yeah, they're able to start from the beginning, which I think is really special.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's interesting, because I'm being a soap watcher and working on 2 soaps. I've never watched a soap really from the beginning, I don't think. You know, so this is my first. I never thought of it that way either. For anybody who might be watching us right now, in 3 words, and you can elaborate on one of them, but how would you describe each of your characters? Mike, you want to go first? Smitty?
Oh, great. I guess I'm the journalist, so I should be good with words. I think protective, loyal, and loving.
RhonniRose?
Ooh. I mean, free spirit, you know, 2 words, but she is independent and passionate.
Brandon?
RhonniRose, you so passionate. That's what I was going to say.
Sorry.
Martin is driven. Martin is he is passionate. He's very passionate. So I have to use that. Also, I think loving, and I don't think fans see that, you know, just yet, but Martin loves his family to death and would do any and everything for them. So loving.
Oh, you knew that after, you know, you found out about your dad. You definitely knew that. Arielle, your turn.
Mike also stole one of my words. That's okay. I'll forgive you.
Thank you.
I'd say Naomi's strong-willed. She's passionate. And also loyal. She's a loyal one also.
I love that. Mike, you're the daytime vet here, but for you three, Arielle, you joked about your 9-page audition, and RhonniRose, this was your first, right? Your first TV?
Yeah, on screen, anything. Yeah.
What has it been
That's
like?
crazy to me. I don't want to interrupt, but RhonniRose walked in like she had been there doing this her whole life.
Oh,
and
God.
RhonniRose, I don't know, remember if you, I don't know if you remember telling me this, but like it was like the 3rd or 4th week on the show. And you came in late one day and you were like, oh my gosh, I'm so flustered. I just hope I'm doing a good job. And I was like, wait, what are you doing? And you're like, I feel like, I just hope I'm doing a good job. And I was like, you look like you are such a pro, and like all of your scenes, you look so good on camera. You're so good with your body. You're so good with your voice and your movement. And I know you have theater training and Broadway, and you're a fantastic actress, but you would have never known that you had never done TV before.
Mike, what the heck? Thanks.
I was there the first day. The first day was me and RhonniRose, and it's very overwhelming because there's 4 cameras around, and we were also shooting outside, and it was the craziest day. And she was so focused, and you could not tell. If this was somebody's first day, they would have totally lost control, and not once did she let up. So I feel like a proud big sister.
Thank you, sister. And I remember that day so vividly. I was like, oh my God, like I literally could not stop sweating. But I think
the nerves were hiding.
Well, good.
But
I think, like, as you can see, just all of the support and the fact that my first day was with my big sister, and she has since taken on that role in real life too. Just all the support, I think, kind of helped me get used to the chaos, and the fact that we're all kind of going through it together. Like, yes, like y'all have all worked, but I think this is a different kind of beast, and it's a lot of our firsts, so. Yeah, I felt like really supported, and I felt like if I messed up or like, fell on my ass or that somebody would be able to catch me and pick me back up. So.
What has surprised you three, doing daytime, since Mike's done it before? What has surprised you three?
I don't know. I should say this. I also worked on General Hospital before Beyond the Gates, and I was up for a series regular on Young and the Restless. During this time, though, Michelle Morgan, her role, I think she played Hillary, but something happened with that character. I was supposed to play her love interest, and something happened. She died. I think the baby died too in a car accident. But my role went up in thin air after that. So it was always my goal to be on a soap opera. And that started back in 2017 or 2018, I believe. Yeah. So I think it's meant to be.
I was curious, any soap watchers here growing up watching any?
I did.
Yeah, I did too with my grandma, and she didn't speak any English, but she could tell me exactly what was going on.
I mean, that's how my mother learned to speak English.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing.
What shows?
The Restless for me, with Christophe St. John, Victoria Raoul.
Raoul, yeah. Oh, so that must have been crushing, Brandon.
It was. I told my manager at the time, I said, lose my number. Yeah.
Oh, that totally had to have been crushing.
Yeah. But it's meant to be. Now we're
of course. Of course. So not only is it the first show in 25 years, it is the first show centered around, as we have said, a Black family, and the first show in years to be written and executive produced by women. Tell me what it's like working for Michelle, Sheila, and Julie. RhonniRose, you want to go first?
Yeah, why not? It's awesome. I think being like a young woman myself, it's so inspiring to see these like powerhouse women running our show, and like all questions go through them. they make all the decisions, you know, like, and Michelle's writing, I think for women has so much depth in it, because I think she speaks from like her own life and her experience. And I love how, like, you know, we have women that are evil, 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 and then just like the sweetest and, you know, very complex. And like Danny is very extra, you know, and it's so fun to see so many colors of women.
Evil is an understatement for her.
I was talking about Miss Leslie. Oh my goodness.
Yes, I know. That's who I know. That's who
Yeah.
I was referring to.
Yeah.
Mike, you know, you've worked on other shows. I mean, having women lead.
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, listening to Michelle Valjean talk about how this is the show she wishes that she saw when she was a little 8-year-old girl, and you know the characters lived in her mind her whole life, and now they're on screen. And Sheila Ducksworth, you know, championing this at CBS, and then Julie Carruthers, you know, with all of her soap experience coming in and sort of keeping a tight ship. Like, these are just tremendous powerhouse women, like you said, coming together to tell these stories. And it's great. I mean, earlier I said that this was like one of the kindest, most passionate sets I've been on. And I think that they lead from the top down. I mean, they all bring their heart, they bring their passion, they bring their enthusiasm for the show. And I think that that's a big reason why we have so many good things to say. It's not just because we want to keep our jobs. It's because, you know, we really mean it. We really genuinely mean everything good that we're saying about the show.
Anybody else?
I would just like to say, for these 3 women to talk to us, sometimes, you know, they will sit with us in our rooms, we'll be in their office. I can call them at any point of the day just to ask them questions, because this is their baby, you know. And if you have children, which, you know, Martin does now, you understand the level of love and care and compassion that they have put into Beyond the Gates. And just to be a part of something like that, I mean, I could tear up now just thinking about it.
So you're gonna cry.
But you don't cry though. You don't cry.
Okay, I should disclaim. I'm a crier now.
Got it.
Yeah, you know, kids change you. You guys, kids change you.
That's
yes,
amazing.
Brandon is so right. Like Sheila Ducksworth, like she put every little detail that's in the set, that's in our clothing, that our characters are inspired by. Like, they are really taking care of this show and us, and it's really nice to feel heard. Like, if something in the script doesn't make sense or isn't clicking, we can go to them and talk to them about it. Like, we're not just these vessels that that they're using to tell this story. Like, we have some sort of input, and it is a collaboration. We can tell them what's on our mind, and they listen to us and they take us seriously. And so it's just a dream team. And I love watching Julie walk down the hallway in her little blazers and her heels stomping around. I love it. And I feel like Naomi's just like that in her blazers and her, pantsuit. So it's been really, really wonderful.
Well, that's great. Well, happy Pride, everybody. You know, Beyond the Gates has arrived at a moment when authentic LGBTQ plus and BIPOC storytelling is still fighting for the space it deserves on screen. And truly, with what's going on in our world, is more important than ever. What does it mean for each of you to be a part of this show and that change? I mean, and it's not, like shouting that you're gay on the, Martin and Smitty are living a life with their 2 children, and story revolves around this couple. It's just how life is. It revolves around what is happening in your world.
And I think we've heard it so many times, but representation matters. I got a chance to go to DC a couple of weeks ago to visit a friend, and I didn't know it was DC Pride at the time.
World Pride you were there for?
Well, actually the week before.
Okay.
It was just DC, I think it was DC Black Pride before World Pride. Wow. And so many Black men came up to me and said, I see myself in you. Thank you so much. You know, that let me know even more, like, people are watching, they see themselves, and that matters, you know? So I'm just a vessel, and I'm just so happy to be a part of it.
Yeah,
RhonniRose?
beautiful.
Or Arielle, go ahead.
I think it's just so beautiful that we get to see authentic people living their life. And it's not something that has to be commented on, or, you know, it's just people are being people, and as complex and layered and complicated in all of that beauty. We get to see that on screen. It's so lovely and so important. Like Brandon said, people should get to see themselves on screen, and they get to do that in our show. I think anybody can relate to somebody on our show. It's such a diverse cast. It's such a, we have so many different stories happening, and somebody can find a little piece of themselves in our show, which I think is so beautiful and special.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
I think so too. I think also we always joke about how it's interesting how casting kind of knew who we were and how similar our characters are to us. I know with Chelsea, you know, she is really just starting to explore her sexuality as a bisexual or queer woman. And now she's with Madison, and she's just head over heels. And and I think it's really, it's so layered for me personally, because I'd never had that growing up. I mean, of course I'm younger, so like I know about pride, you know, and I have friends who are gay and stuff like that. But being like a young woman with kind of a spotlight on you, you know, you have a little bit of fear, just kind of acknowledging yourself. And I think Chelsea has brought that out of me. So, and I hope that she continues to inspire others, and I hope that our characters, you know, help somebody just allow themselves to be who they are.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. I mean, RhonniRose, what a week you've had. What was your thought? What was your thought when the powers that be told you this was the direction?
Oh man, you don't even know like the half of it truly, but I don't even know. Well, I knew that Chelsea was going to be a character that would push the limits and push the boundaries because of who her mother is. Danny's very bold, and that kind of, some of that kind of rubs off on Chelsea, whereas I feel like my sister is the more level-headed one, like our father. How fun. Yay.
Yeah.
But yeah, Chelsea, I knew she was going to be the wild child, a Spitfire. We did have a conversation about her sexuality. And at first I was scared because I wasn't out really. I mean, but like I said, it inspired me to just live truthfully. And I think that Brandon is absolutely correct. Like representation is everything. And like, and acknowledging that within yourself too is really where it starts. And I just loved it. I was like, let's do it, because
let's do it. And
why
you're doing it fantastic. Cindy said, happy Pride. I love the show. It's more true to life than other shows. Speaking of representation, you were all just, you know, talking about it. What's your earliest memory of representation on screen, in a book? Like, where did you feel you saw yourself? Arielle, you want to?
Yeah, I know exactly where I saw myself. Picture it. I was 5 years old. And I was I gotta say, it might sound a little corny, but the Cheetah Girls was the first time I saw myself, this diverse group of girls who sang and danced and acted. And I was like, I want to do that. Raven Simone has, you know, she changed the game for so many young Black women. And that movie and those girls are the reason I am where I am today. I'm not even gonna lie.
I love that. That's fabulous. And it's beautiful that you know it and you remember it. Yeah,
for sure. It made impact.
Brandon?
Well, I was a little delusional. So my favorite film growing up was The Never Ending Story. And so I thought I was Atreyu. And running around on a horse trying to save Fantasia from the nothing. So that was representation for me. But once again, delusional.
Mike?
Growing up, I connected with like the bleeding heart stories, like the Dead Poet Society or the Rocky.
I worked on that movie, Mike.
No, you didn't.
I did.
No, you did not.
Yeah.
Okay, we have to talk about
and I
that.
took an acting class from Gail Hansen, who is the actor in the movie who gets the phone call from God.
Wow. Yeah. Oh my God, that's like one of the
we became
movies.
very close friends. We're still friends today, but one of my favorite movies ever.
So I mean, I loved science fiction growing up. I loved E.T. I loved the Superman movies. I still do. Like I very much love to jump into that world.
Nice. RhonniRose?
I was a dancer growing up. I started dancing when I was 4, and took it more seriously by the time I was 7. I knew what I wanted. So I was watching like West Side Story, like the original, and then I would research the musical. And Debbie Allen was, oh my gosh, like I just remember being like, you know, you have that like, oh my gosh, because beyond like, even though that she can like kick her leg, you know, she's just so much more than that. Like, oh my gosh, she's so brilliant. And then I learned about A Different World and how like she was the part of the creation process of that, and she directed it, and just how multifaceted she is. And I wanted to do it all, and I wanted to be like her.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Mike, I was going to ask, you recently posted a video about Harvey Milk. What lit that fire? I mean, I completely agree, but you know.
Yeah. So it was about them, the U.S. Navy changing Harvey Milk's name on the side of the ship, as well as many other civil rights leaders. Representative John Lewis and Ruth Bader Ginsburg and just others. And I think that it's an insult to the American people. Not only does it cost hundreds of thousands of dollars per ship, but the point of that is to sort of erase. It's disrespectful and to erase certain parts of history and certain leaders because certain people don't agree with them politically, and so that sort of lit a fire within me. I really, we're talking about pride and the LGBT community, and there was an article that came out about Harvey Milk's name being erased, and I was just like, that's such an awful time. And in Pride Month, during Pride Month, the month where, a lot of people nowadays, they think of Pride as like, okay, we're going to go on the streets and celebrate and, maybe drink a little bit more and we're going to party with our friends. But in the beginning, Pride was a show of strength and unity at a time where it was illegal to be gay. People were being fired from their jobs. They were being ripped from their homes. They were being attacked. Stonewall, yes, it was 1969, but that's not too long ago. And so Pride was you would see a rainbow flag somewhere, and that let you know that it was safe to go into this restaurant and safe to be who you were in public, because in many, many places it wasn't. And Harvey Milk was a huge proponent in teaching America that gay people could serve in politics, that gay people could serve in positions of power and be capable and look out for the betterment of everybody. And I respect him and love him as a person. And so it kind of made me angry, and I had to post it.
Thank you for doing it. It's I mean, the news yesterday that our government is doing away with the suicide prevention hotline is so upsetting for so many reasons, because those hotlines, even though it says it's LGBTQ plus, a straight person will still call that number for help. It's not about, and I just hope, we don't lose young folks. And that's why I think what we're doing here and you all speaking to me, I really appreciate, and Mike, using your voice that way. And here's another. Yeah, go ahead, Brandon.
Alan, I was just going to say that the Trevor Project hotline is still open and available. So I just wanted to
thank God that I used to be one of those counselors for them.
Awesome.
It's an amazing organization, the trevorproject.org, if anybody wants to donate.
Awesome.
You know, speaking of representation, you know, you guys are the first gay interracial couple on daytime television. And Tamara Tooney was part of a groundbreaking interracial couple on As the World Turns.
Yes.
And before her, Tina Andrews was Valerie on Days of Our Lives. And she sat down with me and talked about that story where she and her partner, David, had a kiss. And the awful response afterwards, her being attacked in public at a restaurant, 5,000 letters coming in, leading to her dismissal from Days of Our Lives. You know, what a powerful legacy you're carrying on. What does it mean to you both to be telling this story, and at a time where it matters more, I think?
Just hearing you say that history right there, it means so much to me. I didn't even know that story or her story and how she left Days of Our Lives. But I mean, to be the first of anything, how remarkable. But to have a legacy, to live on when we're dead and gone, you will always be the first. It's tremendous.
Yeah, it feels, I love the simplicity of it because we're just portraying characters that are living their lives. I love the way that they introduced our relationship into the show. As much as I wanted to be in the first episode, Smitty wasn't in the first episode. So you had audiences got to know Martin Richardson as this congressman and the golden child and this very, you know, handsome, likable character. And there were a couple times where Tamara Tooney and Clifton Davis, you know, Vernon and Anita mention Martin's beautiful family, Martin's beautiful kids. Nobody says the word gay. Nobody says the word husband, but it's your beautiful family, your beautiful kids. And then in episode 2, Martin walks in to the house and then he's greeted by Smitty, his husband. And it was just so normal and so beautiful and so full of love and just, you know, and that is, as much as the actor in me wanted to be a part of the first episode, I was like, oh my gosh, I really love the way that
it's
they're
a great
introducing.
It was very well thought out on your executives side. And I said this backstage to some of you, you know, the shout out that Beyond the Gates did to Tamara Tooney storyline on As the World Turns was brilliant. And the way it was done was brilliant.
Yeah, we love a little gem in there.
Yeah, so fun. I mean, fans were reaching out to me before I got to see it. Did you see? Did you see? It was, you know, we're 4 months into Beyond the Gates. I'd love to hear your favorite scene or, you know, Danny slapping somebody. Like, doesn't have to be your own. what, you know, stands out in your mind from these 4 months of watching yourselves do everything and your fabulous co-stars?
There's so many moments.
There really are.
I know. I'm like,
We've lived a lot now.
Yeah, and there's so many episodes.
But I mean,
I text RhonniRose a couple days ago telling her that I loved this last week, her character, everything that her character's been doing. I just texted her, and I think it's the first time I've done that. Specifically, just like, hey, RhonniRose, I just watched you in this episode, and I loved it, and you're just amazing, and I love you. And so those have been some of my favorite scenes to watch. I think my favorite scene to be a part of that I was just kind of sitting there the whole time. I loved the anniversary scene where Leslie comes in like a tornado and just exposes the affair and exposes everything, and just watching Leslie and like Nicole, you know, Daphne standing there with Carla and everybody. It was cool. I love the scenes like that where everybody's together and we get to act together, the big scenes. Yeah. And I think I had like 2 lines in that whole episode, but I'm just like, oh my gosh, what's going to come next? It was great. I was the audience that day.
I think the favorite scene for me of my own was when Martin let Bill have it.
That was good stuff.
And there was so much
protective son.
Well, it was so much freedom in that, just because it was a fantasy. It wasn't real. So I was allowed to, play a little. But my favorite scene of someone else's would have to be Lauren, who plays Vanessa, with Joey Armstrong in the casino. Like the dichotomy of her going back and forth between like the loyal wife and like the devilish mistress. I was like, this is good.
They're so good.
Yeah.
John Lindstrom's great.
He's
so great. And he's such a joy to be around and work with. And it's like, oh, a soap legend in our midst. It's great. It's so wonderful. Brandon, I loved in that fantasy scene when you slap the table, boom. Yes. Oh, it's so satisfying.
Oh.
It's fun yelling at Timon. Bill, it's really fun. I've had plenty of scenes where I've got to yell at that man, and as like intimidating and serious as Bill Hamilton is, Timon is the complete opposite, and he's sometimes just a fool to work around. So I'd say my scenes with Timon as Bill and Naomi, that father-daughter dynamic is so fun to play. And like right now, she's kind of has a soft spot for him since, his stroke, incident has happened. So, but there's still that wall up that she's not fully letting him in. And I think I agree with Mike, the anniversary episode. I just told someone today, they're not caught up yet. And I was like, you got to get to the anniversary episode. And watching Amber Michelle, who plays Eva, watching her work, I just think she's so talented and has such a bright future. And I love the authenticity she brings to that character and the chemistry that she has with her mother. It's so good. It's just so good. And I will say, Leslie's my favorite character. Don't hate me. Don't hate me. I love it. I love it. I love the drama.
From the moment
I was going to say,
she came on screen.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, from the moment she came on screen, right? I mean, she has really been something to.
She's just so funny.
Yeah,
it's great. I love her.
And she throws in little things that she'll change it a little bit, which you sort of it's hard in this genre because we move so quickly to change things. You get one or two takes, but she takes risks and she'll improv these little moments, these little lines, and it's always fun to watch when she does that. And I think also too, we talked about this being a brand new show, and I'm so excited for what's to come, because I think for the first 3 months of this show, the audience is learning, right? So it's like a lot of the dialogue was exposition. We had to mention Fairmont Crest. We had to mention the relationships, who's related to who, the dynamics. Now that has been established, I am so excited for the next 3 months of this show. And I'll say too, I think I have some of my favorite scenes coming up in the next month or two. And it's because, now Smitty's out of the house. Now Smitty's interacting with other characters,
Thank God.
Thank God.
Smitty's getting out.
Smitty's getting out of the house. And I'm very, very excited for if the fans have liked what they've seen so far, I cannot wait to see and hear the reactions in the next 3 months.
It just gets better.
Martin's story seems, what Martin's dreams were about seems to be, coming out. So we're all eager to see where that leads. Arielle and RhonniRose, I had the delight of working with and becoming friends with Carla Mosley on Guiding Light.
Yes.
Tell me what it's like working with her as your mama on this show.
She's just the best.
Yeah.
I remember asking her just advice of how do we do this every day? And she's just one scene at a time, baby. I just went to her the other day and asked her for advice. And, she comes to work every day knowing her stuff. She's such a great role model to take after, in that sense of like knowing your lines and showing up to work. She has the best attitude. She makes us all laugh. So she's a dream. You can't ask for anything better. She says hi, by the way. She loves you.
She
Yeah,
does have a great attitude, and I think that is, you know, and when she and I sat down talk about, you know, representation, you know, she talked about her own journey with the LGBTQ community. You know, she's a special, you know, special person. RhonniRose.
Yeah, I mean, she's truly just a masterclass to watch. And it's so interesting because she's nothing like Danny, and it's fun to watch her like come in and out. Like she's so like just extra sweet and silly and like earthy, and Danny is very much like high maintenance, like designer, and you know, a lot. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, she's just the sweetest. I mean, I text her all the time, like, because I'll get sometimes be a little timid to ask like the producers, can I change this? Can I change this? And so I'll go through her first, kind of like, what do you think, Mom? You know, and then she's just always there. She's always there. She's so supportive.
I love that. I love that. Well, you know, then we must talk about your grandparents and the head of the Dupree family, the incomparable Tamara Tooney and Clifton Davis. All of you, please share, you know, what it's been like just watching them and getting the opportunity to learn from them.
I just say Clifton is the sweetest soul I've ever encountered. There was one day on set, and it was a long day. We have long days, especially when we first started and we're getting in the groove of things. And there's a baby grand piano in the Dupree house. And, you know, everyone was just getting tired, and, you know, and then you just hear this glorious music, and he starts like singing in Portuguese or something. And it was like, oh my gosh. And it just like lifted us all up. And like, I mean, our grand powerhouse is not even the word. She's just brilliant. And she's a boss. She's a diva in like the best way. And you know, like just she is queen. She's our queen, really.
I love Clifton's stories. Clifton has endless stories, and they're so fascinating, and he'll tell them to everyone, and he's just so charming, and like he really does feel like a granddad. You like hug him every day. He's happy to see you. Like, again, the sweetest soul. And that voice. Ooh, that voice. It's so rich and delicious. And Tamara, I grew up watching her on Law and Order SVU. Like, that was my show. So when I found out she'd be my gran, I was like, okay, be cool. Stay cool, calm, collected. And I think I've been doing a pretty good job, but every now and then I geek out a little bit. And again, such a great role model and a boss. And she really is the matriarch of our cast.
Talented lady, huh? Both of them very talented.
Oh, yeah.
So talented. They feel like real grandparents. Tamara, she says something, you don't make her say it twice. You're like, yes, ma'am. And but it's always for the, like, you should be listening to every single thing that she says. And it always comes with love and respect. And then Clifton, like Arielle said, he has a story for everything. Everything. I was sitting next to him. And we were in between scenes, and I mentioned like a ketchup bottle, and he was like, that reminds me when I was sailing off the coast of France. And, and I'm like, what are you, who, like, how many lives have you lived? And it's just, I could listen to him all day, every day.
Both of them. The stories that they have, I mean, from Broadway to film, to small theaters around the United States, overseas, it's endless. And literally, I could listen to them all day. And especially the first day I met Tamara, I had just watched, I'm a big Whitney Houston fan. So I know
what you're going to say. Yep.
And she played Sissy Houston. And I told her, I was like, congrats on Beyond the Gates, but you played that part. That was Sissy all day.
That was a great movie. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tamara too is so supportive. She comes, Jen Jacobs, who plays Ashley, Nurse Ashley, her husband performed at a small, like an acoustic bar a week or two ago. And so we went and I sat next to her, and she showed up and she's cheering and she's like just beaming with pride. Like she just loves supporting artists, and it really feels like she would go out of her way to help. She doesn't need to. She is a legend, but she would go out of her way to help every single person in this cast be their best selves. And that is a gift, because she absolutely does not have to be that person, and she is every single day.
And I'm so excited that we are getting to see more of Anita.
Yes.
And her story, the scenes where she read that letter, boy, wow. Wow. And
that's just the beginning. She like
I heard. I'm excited. But that was
and
brilliant.
I just have to say it's always good. It's always, insane. But I just have to say, not everybody can brag that Clifton Davis and Tamara Tooney were at their 25th birthday. So just saying, I'm going to forever brag about that.
I mean, were you blown away when they walked in the door? I mean, I'm sure they said yes, but were you pinching yourself?
Yes. And she even got me a card that was like best granddaughter, and I was like, oh my god, it's on my mantle. Like I might even frame it. I don't know.
Best granddaughter. Yeah. We didn't know that.
Yeah, that's me. Because we know who the favorite is. Sorry.
Yeah, now we know. Arielle, tell us about working opposite your very handsome on-screen husband, Jabri Horges.
He's great. I remember before I found out who would be playing my husband, I was like, please just let it be someone nice with no ego and, someone that I could play with. And I got everything in that man. He's the most supportive partner. I feel so comfortable with him. And we have, I think our first day together, we shot that lovemaking scene. That was day one.
Wow.
So
welcome to the gates.
For real. So we had to get comfortable with each other very quickly. So it's been so easy and so wonderful to work with him. Very lucky.
I mean, it sounds like it's a pretty good group out there in Atlanta, huh?
Sure is. Come on over.
I would love to come visit. Social media has played such a huge role within the show. And so many of you are active. What's the funnest? I heard Mike and Brandon, I think with Michael Fairman talking, about some of you getting them involved. What's been the funnest thing you've all done on social media for the show?
I like to respond in GIFs. And I do this with the podcast. Yep. But I might not say anything, type any words, but it's just a GIF that lets them know exactly how I feel.
I think a really fun thing that we've been trying to do, me, RhonniRose, and Colby, who plays Kat, we are on TikTok and Instagram finding trends, and we're like, okay, what can we do with the sound? Okay, let's film it. Let's do this, and let's post this. And that's been really fun to get to play around with. And the social media team has been great with accommodating us and our ideas.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Naja saw them doing that, and then she goes to Brandon and I and found a trend, and she's like, hey guys, why don't you do this? And we're like, oh no, now we're doing all these TikToks. But it's actually a lot of fun. It's actually, I don't hate it as much as I thought I would.
I think for me, and I know I'm not really supposed to, but I read the comments. It's kind of fun for me. I like to know what people are saying, but also too, social media is such a young thing, and I was thrilled to know that people my age and younger are watching the show, since soaps kind of have stereotype that only like old people like to watch soaps, but like, but the fact that it's like, you know, and my friends, like my friend group, they are obsessed.
Yeah, and I love interacting with people on social media too, because I feel like, you know, we talked about this being the first soap in 25 years.
Yeah.
And 25 years ago, you know, people watching a soap, you know, sort of being born in front of their eyes, they couldn't interact with the actors or the people involved with the show at all. You know, maybe they would send in letters, but that's really it. And like, we can go on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok or whatever, and read the comments and comment back and interact with people, or I kind of like reading about the fan theories before they happen. So theories that people have, you know, with certain storylines, and it's just fun. It just opens up the show to a new level of interaction that people didn't have, you know, 30, 40 years ago.
100%. I mean, there is no instant reaction to, you know, RhonniRose being bisexual, you know, Martin's, you know, the dream stuff happening, all of that. It really is amazing. And I'm so glad I don't do PR in the social media world.
Also, shout out to Kobe, who plays my sister Kat on the show. She loves social media. She loves it. She loves the videos and everything. And she really gets me into it, because if it wasn't for her, I would be on there.
I might be missing, and people are asking about Peppa the Pig voice.
Peppa the Pig voice.
I don't know if there's anything that you've done on social media. So
is that a trend? Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows?
We need Colby. We need Colby.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, as I said earlier, today also marks Juneteenth. Is there anything you'd like to share about what it means to you personally and how it influences maybe the stories you want to see told, especially in a space like this where representation matters?
Well, I didn't know about Juneteenth until a handful of years ago. It was never something I was taught in school. Growing up, that wasn't something we celebrated. So when I learned what it was, I couldn't believe that wasn't talked about more. And I never connected with the 4th of July to begin with. So to have Juneteenth, like, it just feels like hours, you know, and I can claim it and I can celebrate it. Well, not tonight, because I got to film 3 episodes tomorrow and I got to wake up early. But
I'm keeping you up late.
No, it's fine. It's fine. In my heart, it feels like something I can claim and be proud of and be like, yes, we were free on this day. So that's what it means for me.
I love that.
Well, I grew up celebrating Juneteenth and knowing what that was. And
Brandon, can you, was it something your family taught you? Because like, I really, you know, Arielle saying that we are not taught that is just.
Yeah, I was
unforgivable.
I was taught that in my home, but also I was taught that in school as well.
Wow. Okay, great.
I have family that lives in Texas, you know, so, you know, that's where it was. But yeah, it just means freedom for all and knowing that we're free. So happy Juneteenth to everyone out there.
Yeah, this is like, it's monumental. It feels really just powerful right now to be young, gifted, and Black and have a day where that's celebrated. And we are on TV every day. We get to showcase it every day. So
long overdue. Long overdue. I really couldn't think of a better way to celebrate Pride Month, to celebrate Juneteenth, and to celebrate the beginning of a very long run for Beyond the Gates. What was it like? Because I loved seeing it on social media when they, you know, announced season 2. Were you all over the moon?
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Absolutely.
I was so it just took us.
It was a shock.
Yeah, it took us by surprise because we were about to film a scene and we just rehearsed it. And they're like, hold, we have to do something. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
Can we film this scene? I was so confused, and I was like,
HR meeting.
oh,
They
no.
kept saying it's an HR meeting.
HR meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they told people it was HR meetings.
Yeah, I was like, are we in trouble?
Yeah, I was like, oh no, what? Like, I knew social media was going to be a problem. What happened?
Well, and see, it was different for me. Nobody told me anything. I was late to the announcement because I had a very intense day. Chelsea goes through something really intense, and so I was in the middle of filming that, and you know, I wasn't looking the best, like, you know, and so I was barricading myself in my dressing room, like just drilling lines, and then it's silent outside, and I'm peeking, like, what's going on? And then our SM is like texting me and like calling me, like, hey, come to stage one, and I'm like, for what? So I go out there, and there's all these people, and then all of y'all are like, RhonniRose, come on. I'm like, what? I didn't know what was going on, but then, you know,
Yeah.
Yay. And then there was cake. So, yeah.
And then there was cake.
Everybody
Can't go wrong with cake.
Everybody from the office came down. Everybody came to, and then around the corner, George Cheeks, who is the CEO of Paramount Global, comes out, and we're all like, what is going on? And Sheila Ducksworth was with him, and he started chatting, and then out of nowhere said, and we're picking up for season 2. And we all, what? It was such we all were just like, oh my gosh, like what a surprise and what a wonderful, wonderful.
That spontaneous video, you could tell.
Yeah,
Jeff
it was a lot of jumping up and down and
so
clapping, and it was great. I mean, it felt like we sort of had a feeling, or at least we hoped that it would happen, obviously, but to hear in real time that you get to spend another year creating something you love with people that you enjoy, it was great. It was everybody's laughing and cheering and screaming, except for RhonniRose. Was just
she was pissed.
You were in it. It's fine.
Yes, fine now. Yes, fine.
Well, now we have something to look forward to, RhonniRose. You teased a little. Something's coming.
Alan, don't get me in trouble, please.
I'm not. I won't repeat it again. Thank you all so much. Such a pleasure to meet you, Mike. Always good to see you. And congratulations.
Alan, before we get out of here, though, I just wanted to plug a film that I produce. It's called Free to Be. It's about 4 individuals, a part of the LGBTQIA+ community, their fight for social justice, equal rights. It was filmed during the pandemic, and we're going to release it on YouTube June 26th. So next week. And it's been in 27 different film festivals. It's won awards, and I want everyone to check it out because representation matters.
Brandon, DM me information, photo. I'll promote it on all my socials for sure and put a link.
I will.
Absolutely. I would love to. Yeah. I can't wait to see it. Congrats on that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing it, and thanks for making it. We need more. So have a great evening. Get to bed, Arielle. You've got an early morning. Anybody else have an early well, not Mike. Okay.
No, I'm sleeping.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Alan. Great
seeing you all.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
There we go. Thank you to Brandon, Mike, RhonniRose, and Arielle for spending this time with us. Tune in weekdays on CBS for Beyond the Gates and Paramount Plus. Join me next Wednesday, June 25th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern as I welcome Knots Landing's Constance McCashin and John Plachette, beloved for their roles as Laura and Richard Avery. More than 4 decades after the show's debut, Constance and John remain incredibly close friends, and they'll be joining me to share memories on their time on set, their enduring off-screen friendship, and life after Knots. If you haven't yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, you can do so down below. Turn on the notifications for reminders of all upcoming shows. And if you like to stream audio versions, just search The Locker Room on your favorite podcast app. As always, everybody, stay safe and have a great weekend.